Well, today is the launch of For My Guy, Delightful Dimensionals cutting dies, and they are gorgeous. As a matter of fact, let me show you one of them. Look at this. We'll get in closer so you can see. How fun is that? We've got hats, we've got gears, we've got For My Guy in the dies, as well as motorcycles and cars and hats and all sorts of things. Very fun. So won't you please come play with us? Now, as you may know, the Delightful Dimensionals is a monthly cutting die set that we do. You can use them on playing cards, but we also design them to work with the basic crosshatch. Now, this is a separate set of dies, and they're going to make that base for the card. And so what happens is you can see the four shapes. By the way, as with all of Fabulous Folded or Delightful Dimensionals, they come in a wallet size like this. It's going to give you all the instructions, complete for your storage for the die, so those two pieces don't get separated. And this is the back of it, and it cuts slits. Can you see? Not sure if you can see. Yeah, you can see the slits, and that's how the things go together, and it creates this piece, which is that basic card base, so to speak. Okay, now they fold flat and they will fit into our 10 envelopes. So we never leave you hanging. We always leave you with a way to send your messages. So that's good. Now this month, as I said, we have For My Guy. We wanted to get this to you so you had it in time for Father's Day. But indeed, you can use this for birthday anytime. These designs will work, and For My Guy is going to work for your message. So this is great. Now there is a project on the back, and it's the one that I just showed you. So Debbie did this, and let me show you what this is. So in this particular case, isn't that just a gorgeous background? To get that, she used our Steampunk for Everyone 6x6 papers, which are going to fit perfectly with all those pieces on the die. And then she inked the edges with a blender brush and the Prussian blue. So that just really boosts that blue look. But I know that you're looking at all of that sparkle and shine, aren't you? Well, so is Debbie. And so she used several of our specialty papers, and let me just walk you through them. So for the motorcycle, she used the brown fireworks. Now, who would have thought? Isn't that just perfect? And there are two pieces to that motorcycle, so that's nice. And we'll get it super close so that you can see the top layer she sanded. So just using our sanding tool and just brushing that across. What it does is it removes some of that wonderful brown holographic and shows the white cardstock underneath, but it gives you some definition, which is really nice. Now, for the gold pieces that you're seeing, that was done with our hammered gold. Look at that. Now, when you put the cutting die through, it's going to remove some of that embossing that comes with the hammered gold, but it still retains some of that luster. So really pretty. So you can see all those gold pieces. I'm going to toss that over on the side. And then this silver, and how fun to mix those metals, by the way. This was done with the silver ripple. Now it's hard to see the ripples, but if you look closer, you really are seeing them in the shine that it gives. And that was done with the largest piece, which is the gear. And then there's some additional pieces. So you can see that she used right down here in the silver ripple and the hammered gold. How fun is that? Then she also accented the pieces with our copper jewel dies. So that worked nicely too. So lots going on, and just beautifully done. Now something else that she did, this is the hat. So the hat was done with the brown, but there is a second piece to the hat. You can see it right here. And in the art of the hat, which might be really hard to see in the cutting die, but there are these 3 years. And so that's that second piece. You get the hat brim as well as the 3 gears. And so she did those, but then out of the brown, And the brown came from the Steampunk for Everyone solid. So you can see that. And then she brushed the lunar paste. This is the silver lunar paste right over the top of it. So she has brown holographic, she has got gold, she's got silver, and she's got the silver paste. So just a lot going on, but isn't that fun? And who said that masculine cards can't be sparkly? No one ever said that. Now, to the one I love, that is a little tiny of the cutting dies, or excuse me, the die cuts out of the Steampunk for Everyone die cuts. So there are some smaller greetings there. Now on the back side of this, I'm going to just lay it flat. What she has used are some of the art out of the Steampunk, the 6x6, and more of the gears, more of the copper jewel, and may your day be the best. And this is one of the cutouts from that piece of that paper. So really very fun, and there is no guy in the world who wouldn't love this. So that's nice to know. Okay, so what's another look that you can have? Well, let me show you what she's done. So this is, there is a sparkle, and I'll show you how to do that because she did it differently. But this is using a different set of papers, and that makes all the difference. And this is Golden Botanical. Yes, Golden Botanical. Isn't that funny? And I think it's just great. It's also the 6x6 size, and she has die cut all of these pieces. And what I like about that is that you're going to get some other art in there, and I think it just works so nicely. Now, the piece that's back here, can you see that? That is a cutout from the 6x6. This is a cutout. And remember on the first card, she put the For My Guy and she backed it onto the gold. Well, here she's just letting it stand up there. But this is out of a suede. And let me pull it out for you. This is a mocha suede. It is a brown. And it's really kind of neat because you can pet it. And just lovely. Now, she also did the motorcycle out of it. How neat is that? And the top layer, again, she sanded it and used the silver paste to go over it. So that just gives a little bit more definition. And for the black wheels, she just used a pen, just drew them. Okay, now are you wondering about that copper? How gorgeous is that? And you can see that that cutting die is really nice and large. As a matter of fact, it is 3 7/8 inches long, so it's a nice, and it's 2 3/4 inches wide. So that's really nice. But what she did is something different. So she took a solid cardstock. So I'm just going to use this. She did use, now she used the Golden Botanical 6x6 pattern paper. She used the Gold Botanical solid cardstock too. But then the woman went into our self-adhesive papers, and they come in a package like this. The company calls them self-adhesive foil, but foil doesn't really, is not a term that works for us. So we called it the double-sided adhesive. It looks like this. It's got plain on one side and stripe plaid on the other, check on the other. And what she did was to take this piece, and I'm just going to do part of it. So pardon me while I trim off a little section just to demonstrate this. Obviously, you'd want to have a piece big enough to take care of your cutting die. So do that. Now it's got paper on both sides, so it's got adhesive in the center, and it's a strip of adhesive. So I'm going to lay this, I'm going to pull one of these pieces off. Doesn't matter which one, this one's coming off. And then I'm going to place it onto my cardstock and rub it. And then I'm going to lift the other side like this, okay? So now I have adhesive on both sides. I want this to be sturdy because what I'm going to put on this is foil. And this is the copper fab foil, which we love around here. It comes in a package like this. And you have 3 feet of this. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit. Now you would be trimming a piece that was going to fit your cutting die. And I'm going to rub this onto my adhesive. And you want to keep that pretty side facing you and this other side down onto the adhesive. So I'm just going to push it down, rub it, just like this. Oh, and get a nice little air bubble in the middle. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I'm just pressing it out, okay? Now, when I lift that foil, let's see what happens. Okay. Look at that. It's just attaching the foil to that adhesive. You can really hear it as I lift this off. Now, don't throw this away. I know most of it is gone, but not all of it is gone. You can use those pieces, okay? So nothing goes to waste with fab foil, even though it's incredibly reasonably priced. So I've got this, and then I'm going to just die cut it, just like Debbie did. And then I've got a sturdy piece to attach to my card. How fun is that? So fun. I'm going to flatten this. And by the way, to stand it up, you just do that. No big deal. Okay, fun. Now flatten it, and I want to show you the back. So what she's done, this is again is the Golden Botanical. This is a cutout, and she did another hat. And you can really see how that silver paste works nicely on it. And it's nice to have the love you. And this is where you write your message, okay? So that works well. Okay, I have two more for you. Debbie has been quite busy. Here's the next one, and this has very much an outdoor look to it. You can see all the greens in there. There's some leaves and flowers. For my guide, this time she has put it on one of the pieces of paper that she's used, and this time she's used Nature's Touch. Again, the 6x6, and then she also paired it with the Nature's Touch solid. Okay, that's 12 by 12. But she has continued her quest of using specialty papers, and that's really fun. So her car is out of, let's see, this is smoke. This is smoke, okay? And look at the car. And in person, there you go. I can really see the detail because the debossing in the cutting die is just really, really nice. Now this too has a second piece. You can see it right there. Once again, she just used a black pen to color in the tires, but isn't that pretty? Hope you can see that. It's just gorgeous. Now she did use another suede, and that is the asparagus. And if you've watched Paulette's paper play, you know I'm absolutely in love with this. And she has used that on her, on the gears in the back. And she's also got, now this is all out of the cardstock, the solid cardstock, and that little piece too. The Thankful Every Day, that is also out of the Nature's Touch. Now let's see what she did on the back. And there's the car again. And but this time she's inked the edges. Now she's done it out of the asparagus this time and inked the edges. That's probably with the cocoa brown. And these two are cutouts from that same 6x6 paper pack. So very, very fun. Different look. Okay, so we've got motorcycles and cars. Now I have one more. And this was a wonderful surprise to me. And I think it works so beautifully. She used this with vintage roses. And isn't that a fun combination? You can see all of those kind of cream and tan and brown images. All of the gears were done because Vintage Roses doesn't have a solid. So she went to Hidden Animals because she's got the browns and the greens that she wanted to use. So that worked nicely. But for the car, same thing with the solids, the Hidden Animals. But I just think this is so pretty on this card. So she covered the card first with the solid brown and then put the 6x6 Vintage Roses. And you can see how the doing the gears, and can you see the different shades of those gears? Well, she accomplished that by using the vintage rose ink pad as well as the Dove Gray ink pad. So just to give it a bit of texture, so to speak. For my guy, isn't that just perfect down there? She's got the gold straight line dazzles, and these have wide ones and narrow ones. That is right there on each side of that 6x6. And then she's also got the gold jewel dazzles are right there, just to show you that whole package. 640 on that sheet. That'll take care of you for a while. And you can see the hat up there, those little gears. The jewel dazzles are in the center of the gears, as well as on the car. Now for the inside, again, she used the vintage rose. Now this time she used the punch to cut around those rounded corners. Here's my punch, and it looks like this. And the way that that works is every single side, the 3 sides, has a different cut. And so I've done this for you. So the R10 is like this, which I have to say is the one I think we most commonly use. There's an R4 and an R7. So those are marked on the punch themselves. And then so you just insert your paper just like that, punch this down, and you've got it. And I thought it was really clever that she used that on the inside. She did do some inking with this, with the vintage rose. I think it's nice using vintage rose ink pad on vintage rose papers. Doesn't that work nicely? There's more of the gears. Another of the straight line dazzles becomes our highway. Now on this one, we'll get in close so that you can see. Excuse me. Debbie used embossing powder. So she used the Wow embossing ink pad on them, and then did the gold embossing powder, and then heated it with her heat tool. And so that looks really nice. It does straight on look, you can't see all the detail, but it looks really good like there. Now I did something for you, and I asked Debbie to cut this out of our gold cardstock, our metallic gold. So there is the motorcycle, and then this is the second piece, and the second piece attaches up here. So you can see there's the handle, and there is the piece that goes down to the wheel, and this is the whatever that's called, muffler. So that's going to go on top, but you can also, as many times she has done, you can get more dimension by sanding this piece. Now, this has a really narrow connection there, so you want to make sure not to push this around. So just take your sanding tool and just go over the top. Just lightly, because it doesn't take much. And you will expose the white underneath, but what it does is it lets you see the detail even better. Now, to foam tape this on top, you can see that they're pretty small areas. So we do have this package of 400, they are 1/4 inch squares of double-sided adhesive. So I've put 3 of them on the back, and you just peel off that top and position this in place. And it's super, super easy to do. So there we go. Get that little piece of paper off. And so then you've got just another look. Nothing is right or wrong. They're just both gold and gorgeous. Gold and gorgeous. That's a good title for a paper pack, don't you think? Okay, you can see the jewel dazzles inside too. So what I love is all of the different looks that she got from our outdoor with our Nature's Touch, as well as our vintage rose, which I think is just absolutely gorgeous. And it just is very, very fun. So you can get it is a very steampunk look. You can get the copper, you can have the shine and the sparkle, or not. whatever you like, and isn't that great? Now, she pretty much used the whole collection or much of the collection on each one, but you can use them separately, of course, because after all, you do have 11 cutting dies here, and I predict that that wonderful big piece of gears is going to come in very handy, and nice to have the layering effect on the car as well as the motorcycle. That's nice, and the hat too. Okay, that is our For My Guy delightful dimensional dies for this month. Now, there is a money saver, of course, and in the money saver I also added the brown fireworks. I just thought that was really fun on our first card. Remember, it was done on the motorcycle, and it just gives it shine and sparkle, especially those rays of fireworks just do really nice jobs. So that's included too. That is on the right-hand side of our screen. Now, if you happen to be a subscriber, did I mention subscription? You will get this for free. That's our gift to you. If you'd like to join the club and get our cutting die every month, and they're kind of going to go with the season. So that's the way we celebrate the seasons, is with these delightful dimensional dies. And what will happen on this subscription is your very first month, you will get the monthly as well as the basic crosshatch. So that way you're going to have it. Then every month after that, you will only get this. Oh, and the free gift, of course. Okay, so if you're interested in this, you are cordially invited. Just take this as an open invitation. Did I say you're going to save 10%? Well, you are going to save 10%. This is on the right-hand side of your screen too, so we invite you to join us, as many of you have. So that's really, really fun. Okay, that's what we have for this month. If you are watching us on YouTube, we'd appreciate it if you'd like us and subscribe. Then head on over to paperwishes.com. By the way, this is the only place that you can get these dies, absolutely the only place. I think it's true of all of these specialty papers too, so come on over, folks. We've got lots of toys for you to play with. And I want to thank Debbie for just a wonderful job and such a creative job. That's really, really fun and giving us lots of ideas. And I want to thank you for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.